From 51 billion to zero, the real fight to avoid a climate disaster. How to avoid a climate disaster part -1. Imagine you wake up in the morning. Outside, the weather looks completely normal. The sun is out, the wind is blowing, people are going about their work, children are going to school, farmers are standing in the fields, and traffic in the cities is rushing just like before. Everything appears normal. But right above this normal world, an invisible danger is slowly accumulating. Every year, human beings are releasing about 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. This is not smoke that stings the eyes immediately, it is not an explosion whose sound can be heard, and it is not a fire seeing which people would run away immediately. The real fear lies right here. The danger is right in front of us, yet it is not visible. And the curiosity is, if this gas is not visible, then why is the world calling it a climate disaster? After all, why did a big name from the world of technology and business like Bill Gates say in his book that we do not just have to reduce emissions but we must bring them down to zero? This story is not about any one country, one city, or one generation. This is the story of the planet on which our entire life depends. The air we breathe, the water with which crops grow in the fields, the weather relying on which a farmer sows seeds, and the environment in which children grow up, all of that is connected to the climate. But in modern times, the climate is changing. Sometimes extreme heat, sometimes sudden heavy rain, sometimes a long drought, sometimes floods, sometimes forest fires, and sometimes sea water moving towards cities. These might look like different events, but a big story is hidden behind them. This is the story of greenhouse gases, of human activities, of fossil fuels, and of that development model which made the world rich but also increased the burden on the atmosphere. Bill Gates' book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, starts with this very question, that to understand climate change we must remember two numbers. The first number is 51 billion and the second is 0. 51 billion, because the world puts such a huge burden of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere every year. And 0 because until this number becomes 0, the temperature increase will not stop completely. A very important point has to be understood here. Climate change does not just mean that the heat will increase a little and people will start running the AC more. The real issue is that the entire natural balance of the Earth slowly gets disturbed. A difference of 1 or 2 degrees in temperature sounds small, but on the scale of the planet it is a huge change. Greenhouse gases actually work like a blanket in the atmosphere. The sun's energy reaches the Earth. The Earth sends some part of that energy back towards space. But greenhouse gases trap some part of that heat. A little greenhouse effect is necessary for life, because without it, the Earth would become very cold. But the problem starts when human beings start releasing too much of gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere. Then this natural blanket keeps getting thicker, and heat starts getting trapped inside the planet. This is the basic science of global warming. The biggest thing is that carbon dioxide can remain in the atmosphere for a very long time. What this means is that the emissions happening today can have an impact not just on today's weather, but on many generations to come as well. This is the reason why climate change is not a short-term problem. This is a loan that today's generation is taking, but the EMI might have to be paid by the coming generations. And this EMI will not be in money. This EMI can manifest in the form of heat waves, floods, crop loss, water crisis, and migration. Now the question comes, where do these greenhouse gases come from? The answer is hidden in our everyday life. When coal, oil, and gas burn, carbon dioxide is released. Whether electricity has to be made, a factory has to be run, a vehicle has to be driven, cement has to be manufactured, fertilizer has to be prepared, steel has to be made, or food production has to be done. Energy is needed everywhere. And even today, the world's major energy needs are met by fossil fuels. Meaning, the problem of climate change is not made by just one power plant or one car. This is a problem embedded inside the entire modern economy. This is the reason why its solution is also not easy. If someone says stop fossil fuels immediately, it might sound good to hear. But the reality is not that simple. Poor countries need development, they need factories, they need electricity, they need roads, they need hospitals, they need schools, and they need employment. The facilities that rich countries built over 100 to 150 years with the help of fossil fuels, developing countries now want those same facilities too. Therefore, the climate solution should be such that it does not stop poor countries from development, but rather gives them a path to cleaner development. Bill Gates emphasizes this very point, that we need technology that is both clean and affordable. Because if the green solution is expensive, poor countries will not be able to adopt it. The most unfair side of climate change is exactly this, that the people who have contributed the least to emissions often suffer the maximum damage. A poor farmer, who perhaps uses very little electricity, can also lose his crop to a drought or flood. A coastal village which did not create global warming can come into danger from the rising sea level. A low-income family which does not have an AC can face the most suffering in a heat wave. This is the reason why climate change is not just an issue of science. It is an issue of justice, economy, and humanity too. Now look at why natural disasters can increase with the rise in temperature. When air is warm, it can hold more moisture. More water evaporates from the sea. Then this very moisture can turn into heavy rainfall in many places. Where it should rain normally, it can rain way too much, and where water is needed, a drought can occur. Meaning, the climate system becomes more unstable. On one hand, floods increase, on the other hand, droughts deepen. For a farmer, this is the biggest risk, because farming runs on the reliance of weather. If the timing of rain gets spoiled, if the heat becomes too much, if the moisture of the soil reduces, then food production can be affected. Forest fires are also a part of this very chain. When the heat is more, the air is dry, and moisture leaves trees and plants, then forests can catch fire much more quickly. Such a fire does not just burn trees, but also damages biodiversity, homes, the local economy, and human health. The smoke spreads far and wide, air quality becomes poor, and people can even get respiratory diseases. This is the reason why understanding climate change merely as a future threat is wrong. Its effects are visible even today in different forms. Sea level rise is also a big threat. When the earth warms, glaciers and ice sheets start melting. Along with that, seawater also expands upon getting warm. Its impact falls on coastal cities. In some places, high tide and storm surge can become more dangerous than before. Roads, drainage systems, ports, homes, and local businesses can be affected. Many major cities are settled along the seacoast, therefore this is not just a story of the environment, it is a story of real estate, insurance, infrastructure and jobs too. The central idea of Bill Gates' book is not to sit down out of fear. Rather, the idea is to understand the problem clearly, understand the numbers and then work on solutions. He says that the goal should not be just to reduce emissions a little. The goal must be net zero. Net zero means that however much greenhouse gases we put into the atmosphere, that same amount should be removed or avoided in some way, so that the total addition becomes zero. This sounds simple to hear, but in reality it is a very big mission. To understand this mission, look at a small example. If a factory previously caused 100 units of pollution and is now causing 60 units, then this is definitely an improvement. But if those 60 units keep going into the atmosphere for several decades, then warming will continue. Therefore, the final destination is zero. Reduction along the way is necessary, but forgetting the destination is dangerous. This exact point is the most important message of the book. We do not need halfway solutions, we need long-term solutions. Now the question is, what will have to be done to reach zero? First of all, electricity will have to be made clean. If electricity becomes clean, then emissions can be reduced by electrifying transport, heating, industries, and many sectors. Options like solar, wind, hydro, and nuclear are part of this very discussion. But the problem is that solar and wind do not give power at the same level always. Solar does not run at night, and if the wind stops, the wind output reduces. Therefore, energy storage, batteries, better grids, and backup systems are also necessary. Meaning, clean energy will not come just by installing panels. The entire energy system will have to be upgraded. The second big sector is manufacturing. Things like cement, steel, and plastic are a part of modern life. Bridges, homes, buildings, roads, vehicles, machines, hospitals, schools, these materials are needed everywhere. But a lot of emissions happen in making them. While making cement, carbon dioxide is released from the chemical process as well. What this means is that just cleaning up electricity will not complete the job. We need such industrial processes that are low carbon. The need for innovation here is very big. The third area is agriculture. Food production is connected to the climate as well as to emissions. Methane is released from cows, nitrous oxide can be released from fertilizers, and forests can reduce due to land use change. But food production cannot be stopped. The world's population needs food. Therefore, better farming methods, improved seeds, fertilizer efficiency, food waste reduction, and sustainable agriculture become necessary. Here too, the solution must be practical, because the farmer is already at risk. Transport is also a big part of emissions. Cars, trucks, ships, and planes burn fuel. Electric vehicles can be a solution, But making every transport mode electric is not easy. Heavy trucks, aviation, and shipping need different solutions. Work will have to be done on sustainable fuels, hydrogen, advanced batteries, and efficiency improvements. Meaning, the climate solution is not a single magic button. It is a combination of thousands of small and big changes. Now, an important concept comes here, which Bill Gates calls the green premium. This means understanding the cost difference between the clean option and the polluting option. If clean cement is very expensive, builders will not use it. If green fuel is very expensive, airlines will not adopt it. If clean technology is not affordable, the world will not adopt it on a large scale. Therefore, the real challenge is not just invention. The real challenge is to make clean solutions so cheap, reliable, and practical that they become the default choice. A big role for business leaders and investors comes right here. Climate solution is not the job of just activists or governments. Startups can make new batteries. Investors can put money into clean technology. Companies can change supply chains. Governments can make policies. Consumers can make better choices. Universities can do research. Meaning, this fight does not belong to any one individual, it belongs to the entire system. And the system changes only when technology, policy, and market all three come together. But this also does not mean that the ordinary human being cannot do anything. Every individual can understand energy use in their life, can reduce waste, can choose public transport or efficient vehicles, can reduce unnecessary consumption, and can demand better climate policies from leaders. But we also have to understand honestly that individual action alone is not enough. If the electricity grid is coal-based, if city planning is poor, if clean products are expensive, then an individual person's choice becomes limited. Therefore, along with individual action, system-level change is necessary. The biggest fight against climate change is that of the mindset. Some people consider it such a big issue that they feel nothing can be done at all. Some people ignore it, considering it fake. Both extremes are dangerous. The truth is that the problem is real, but solutions are also possible. Technology is moving forward. Renewable energy has become more affordable than before. The adoption of electric vehicles is increasing. Climate science is getting better. But speed is still very necessary, because the atmosphere does not wait. Here Bill Gates' message gives hope, but it does not give blind optimism. He says that we will have to be honest. The problem is big, time is limited. But if we put innovation, investment, and policy in the right direction, then the disaster can be avoided. This is no small fight. This is the kind of fight that humanity has fought many times. Fight against disease, fight against poverty, fight against the technology gap. The only difference is that this time the opponent is invisible, and the battlefield is the entire Earth. The biggest lesson of this story is that climate change is not just a matter of the environment. It is a matter of the economy, it is a matter of food, it is a matter of health, it is a matter of jobs, it is a matter of migration, and it is a matter of the security of the coming generation. If we take the right decisions today, the future can be safe. But if we keep delaying it, then every year the problem will keep becoming a little more expensive, a little more complex, and a little more dangerous. Now the question is, when the problem is so big, can we really reach zero emissions? Will technologies like solar, wind, batteries, nuclear, hydrogen, and carbon capture together be able to save the world? Is a climate solution possible without giving poor countries a chance at development? And can the world of business really turn away from making profit from pollution towards making profit from clean innovation? The real curiosity for the next part starts right from here, because the story of avoiding a climate disaster is not just a story of fear, it is the story of those breakthroughs which can completely change the path of the world's economy, energy, and human life in the coming time. In the next part, we will understand which solutions the world needs to reach zero emissions and which breakthroughs are still missing.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.